The next circuit we will try to understand is third one, that is LC filters. Okay, LC filters. Now LC filters, that means a filter which will have both inductor as well as capacitor. Okay, so this is a rectified input which has both AC as well as DC component to it. And now in case of this circuit, what we will do is we will connect both inductor and a capacitor, LC, where inductor will be connected in series with the load resistance, whereas the capacitor will be connected in parallel to the load resistance. You know the reason now, because of their behavior, this is how it will be connected. Again, when you explain this circuit, this question can be asked for 3 marks. You have to remember two formula, XC and XL. What is the formula for XC? Capacitive reactance 1/2 pi FC. XL, inductive reactance 2 pi FL. Okay, so capacitive reactance is inversely proportional to frequency. Inductive reactance is directly proportional to frequency. Again, what happens is, for DC frequency is 0, XC is infinite, and for AC frequency is high, XC will be low, right? So what we can say is, we say capacitor, what it does is it pass AC and blocks DC. So this is all about capacitor. Similarly, inductor for DC frequency is 0, therefore XL will be 0, and for AC frequency will be high, inductive reactance will be high. So when the resistance is 0, that means it can pass DC. Frequency resistance is high, that means it will block. So we say inductor pass DC, blocks AC. Okay, so in both the cases, what will happen is, inductor will, what we will do is, will block AC, it will pass DC. But is that a pure DC? No, it will have some fluctuation. That means still some AC component is mixed in the DC component. If you take the output of the inductor, and that AC component will be bypassed through the capacitor, so what you get at the load resistance is almost a pure DC, almost a pure DC. So if you draw the waveform, this is Vn with respect to T, this is V out, what you get is almost a straight line with respect to T. So using L and C both in same circuit, what we can do is, we can reduce the AC component so that output is almost a pure DC. But this circuit has a slight disadvantage. Let us go to this formula. What is this? XL is equal to 2 pi FL. So if you calculate the value of inductor, the formula will be 2 pi F upon it will be XL upon 2 pi F. Okay, so the value of inductor is inversely proportional to the frequency. If it is low, what happens to inductor value? Inductor value will be high, as inductor is inversely proportional to the frequency. Now what is inductor? Inductor is nothing but a length of wire which has been coiled. Okay, so if the inductor value is high, that means more number of turns should be required. The gauge of the wire should be more, so that the value of L is increased. But what will happen is, when you do such thing, the size of the inductor will be very large, and it is not feasible to use such a large big size inductor in a small circuit. So for low frequency signals, LC circuit cannot be used. Do you understand why I said that? For low frequency signal, the inductor value will be very high. The inductor is inversely proportional to frequency. For low frequency, inductor value will be high, and when I say the inductor value is high, that means the physical size of the inductor becomes very high, and it is not feasible to use that inductor in a circuit. That's why at low frequency LC circuit cannot be used, and to replace that we design one more type of filter called as RC filter, where L is replaced by a pure resistance. So that will be RC filter. The last in the line is RC filter under the heading of filters. So the last one is RC filters. Okay, RC filters. As I said, there is a disadvantage related to LC filter which is removed by RC filter. And how it is removed? By replacing the value of L by R. Okay, so the circuit will be like this: a rectified input for the filters which has both AC as well as DC component, and then you use a resistor and a capacitor. So instead of inductor, we replace inductor by a resistance. Now the resistance offered by a pure resistance is almost 10 times that of the resistance offered by the capacitor, which is capacitive reactance. We specify it as XC. So R is 10 times more as compared to XC. So what we do is one stage or one such setup will reduce the ripple by a factor of 10. So depending upon how much is the ripple, we connect this. This diagram is specified in the book as 3 sections, so I am specifying it as 3. So now we are using 3 section of RC. What I said, the resistance offered by the pure resistance is 10 times more than the capacitive reactance. So each section will reduce a ripple by a factor of 10. How many sections we have added? We have added 3 such section, and then we will connect the output load resistance across which the output voltage is taken. Okay, so each section will be reduced. We will reduce the ripple factor by a factor of 10. Now as I said, here you have the ripples. Okay, so as the resistance offered by the pure resistance is very large, almost all the ripples will be dropped across this section, and almost a pure DC is produced across RL. Now the disadvantage related to this circuit is, of course, the AC component is dropped across this point, but also some DC component will also be dropped. So the amplitude which we are going to get at this output here, the amplitude will be small. For example, if you get for capacitive, inductive and LC filter, you will get the waveform like this, right? The waveform will be like this. But for RC filter, the amplitude will be small. Almost the output will be almost a pure DC, but the amplitude will be small. So this is all about filters. So the last part of this chapter will have voltage regulator, which makes sure that the output voltage is constant irrespective of any change in the input voltage or any change in the load resistance. The circuit is called as voltage regulator, which we will see in the next video. Thank you. Hello students, in the last part of your chapter power supply, we will try to understand voltage regulator. Until now we have done 3 blocks: transformer, rectifier and filters, of course, right? So how is the output of filter? Filter's output is almost a straight line, but still there will be small fluctuations which will be available at the output. What you want is at the output you want a pure DC. And how pure DC will be? Pure DC will be a straight line, right? So this is your DC and this is output of filters. Okay, so therefore, to make sure that the output remains constant for all values, all changes in the input voltage and all changes in the output load resistance, we use voltage regulator. I have discussed this earlier also, that when you talk about this term called as regulator, for example a fan's regulator, it keeps the speed constant. Similarly, a gas regulator, it keeps the intensity of the flame constant. That means something which keeps the output constants. Okay, that will be called as regulator. And we are trying to understand voltage regulator. That means a circuit which keeps the output voltage constant irrespective of any change in the input voltage or any change in the load resistance. That will be called as voltage regulator. Okay, so under the heading voltage regulator, the first circuit which we will try to understand is Zener diode as voltage regulator. Zener diode as voltage regulator. Okay, of course, before trying to understand how Zener diode can be used as a voltage regulator, first we have to understand what exactly we mean by Zener diode. For that, I will go to the basics of diode once again. We have already tried to understand what we mean by a PN junction diode. Okay, I will directly go to the forward bias and reverse bias condition of PN junction diode, and I will draw a VI characteristics. Okay, so this is for a normal PN junction diode. Okay, normal PN junction diode. When you draw a VI characteristics, this is forward voltage and this is forward current, and this is reverse voltage and this is reverse current. Okay, so that is the quadrant. Now when you increase the, we have understood forward biasing of PN junction means P connected to positive, N connected to negative. Both the charge carrier move towards the junction. The depletion layer width decreases. At some point the depletion layer vanishes, the potential barrier vanishes, and current starts flowing through the PN junction diode. So the forward bias graph will be like this. Initially there will be no current. When you keep on increasing the voltage, what happens is the depletion layer width will decrease. At some point it will vanish and then current starts flowing through the PN junction diode. The potential at which this happens is called as knee voltage, and which is 0.3 for germanium and 0.7 for silicon. So this is the forward characteristics of PN, normal ordinary PN junction diode. Okay, in reverse bias condition, what happens is P is connected to negative and N is connected to positive. So both the charge carrier move away from the junction. Depletion layer width increases, potential barrier increases. That means we say in general term no current flows through the PN junction diode, but there will be negligible amount of current which will be flowing because of minority charge carrier. I will give you an example. Suppose there will be, say, there are only 2 free electrons. Of course, the current which will be flowing will be negligible. Now what happens is when you keep on increasing the reverse bias voltage, in a normal PN junction diode, kinetic energy of these electrons will increase. That means they will be velocity accelerated. These electrons will go and hit another 2 electrons which are there in the covalent bond with a very high speed. Of course, what will happen is they will impart energy and they will make that electrons as free electrons. So now you have 4 free electrons. So as you keep on increasing the reverse bias voltage, these 4 electrons will go and hit another 4 electrons in the covalent bond, making it 8. So the number of free electrons will keep on increasing, and at around 50 volt reverse voltage, 50 volt reverse voltage, till then there will be a very negligible amount of current will flow, and then at around 50 volt there will be large amount of free electrons available to take part in the process of conduction. So conduction happens. The potential at which this happens is called as breakdown voltage. This is the normal operation of PN junction diode. We say VI characteristics of PN junction diode. Okay, now we will now try to understand a special type of diode called as Zener diode. Okay, Zener diode. Let us try to understand its VI characteristics: forward voltage, forward current, reverse voltage, and reverse current. Okay, so then what happens is, now when the current when a Zener diode is connected in forward bias mode, it performs or it works exactly similar to ordinary diode. It works exactly similar to ordinary diode, okay, in forward bias condition. But in reverse bias condition, see what happens. What I said about PN junction diode, when connected in reverse bias mode, there will be negligible amount of current which will be flowing because of the minority charge carrier, and as you keep on increasing the reverse voltage, the kinetic energy of this charge carrier will increase. They will be velocity accelerated and they will keep on increasing. The number of free electrons will keep on increasing. That is called as avalanche effect. Okay, that will be called as avalanche effect. And at around minus 50 volt, that is 50 volt reverse volt, there will be large amount of free electrons available which will take part in the process of conduction. So current increases. The same phenomena, reverse bias condition of PN junction, has been studied by a scientist called as C. Zener. And what he suggested, that he suggested two things. Okay, the first thing, he suggested that the breakdown which occurs at 50 volt can be controlled, and it can happen say at 2 volt also, and it can happen say 200 volt also, of course. So the breakdown in the reverse bias condition can occur at 2 volt as well, up to 200 volts. Okay, so what he suggested is, he suggested to control the doping concentration. When I say doping concentration means, see, when you form a PN junction diode, what you do is, to form a p-type semiconductor, you dope trivalent impurity. When you form n-type semiconductor, you dope pentavalent impurity. So you add impurity. That is what is called as doping. And what is doping concentration? Doping concentration means amount of impurity which is being added to the pure semiconductor. So what C. Zener suggested is, if the doping concentration is high, that means large amount of impurity is added, doping concentration, depletion layer width is very small. And if depletion layer width is very small, the breakdown will occur at a early stage. And if the doping concentration is small, depletion layer width is big, and the breakdown will occur at a later stage. So we can control the doping concentration and we can control the diode, or the potential at which the diode breaks down. Okay, so that is what is the most important part. So basically, Zener diode is nothing but a PN junction diode which has been properly doped so as to have a sharp breakdown voltage. Okay, so depending upon the application, we choose the Zener diode to be either 5 volt, 9 volt, 12 volt, depending upon the application which we are using Zener for. Okay, so now in this case, I'll just take an example. Say Zener diode, we are selecting a Zener diode of say 9 volt. Okay, 9 volt, that means the breakdown occurs at 9 volt. Sharp breakdown will occur at 9 volts. So initially, before this 9 volt, there will be no current which will be flowing through the Zener diode. That means Zener diode will be in off state, and as soon as this breakdown occurs, current will increase. That means Zener diode will be in on state, right? The potential at which this breakdown occurs is specified as VZ, Zener voltage, and the current which will be flowing at that point will be called as IZ. Okay, so there are two important points to be noted. As I said, in Zener diode, the doping concentration is controlled to have a breakdown either at early stage or at the later stage or at a specific stage. So I have taken an example where Zener diode is getting breakdown at 9 volt in the reverse bias condition. So before 9 volt reach, that this is a source voltage which we are applying. Say the source voltage, say this is Vs. Now Vs is the source voltage. So 1 volt, 2 volt, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What happens is at this point no current, no breakdown is there. So no current will flow through the Zener diode. Zener diode will be in off state. And as soon as the breakdown occurs 9 volt and any volt more than 9 volt, that Zener diode current will start flowing through the Zener diode. That means Zener diode will be in on state. Zener diode will be in on state. Okay, and any voltage, whatever will be the voltage drop across, whatever be the in potential which we increase 10 volt, 11 volt, 12 volt, 13 volt or up to 200 volt, once the Zener has a breakdown, the voltage across Zener diode will remain constant. Voltage will not increase, only the current through the Zener diode will increase once the breakdown happens. When the breakdown happens, the voltage will remain constant, only the current through the Zener diode will increase. So this property of Zener diode will be used to design Zener diode as voltage regulator. This is the symbolic representation of a PN junction diode, and this is the symbolic representation of a Zener diode. You just have to make a Z. Okay, there was a single line in Zener diode. It will be a Z which has to be formed. Okay, so two things has to be remembered. The first is Zener diode should never be connected in forward bias condition because it works similar to ordinary diode, and ordinary diode is very cheap as compared to Zener diode. So obviously we are going to use an ordinary diode when it is connected in forward bias mode. Zener diode should always be connected in reverse bias condition. That means P should be connected to negative and N should be connected to positive, because that is where its application lies. Okay, so Zener diode should always be connected in reverse bias mode. That is the first thing for Zener diode to be used as a voltage regulator. The second thing is, before breakdown Zener is in off state. After breakdown the voltage across Zener remains constant. So for using it as a voltage regulator, the source voltage should be equal to or greater than the breakdown voltage, which we call it as Zener voltage. So if Vs is equal to or greater than Vz, only then the Zener diode will be used as a voltage regulator. Otherwise it will be in its off state. Okay, so let us draw the circuit diagram for Zener as voltage regulator and try to understand what we were suggesting at this juncture. Okay, so I will draw the circuit diagram. What is the input? See, if you remember, the first stage was a transformer, then the rectifier, then the filter. What happens? Transformer, what it does, it converts high AC voltage, high AC current to low AC voltage, low AC current. Then rectifier converts AC into DC, but it is a fluctuating DC, right? Rectifier. What filters does? Filter, what it does is it bypasses AC component and produce almost a pure DC across its output. But what we want is, now we want a voltage regulator which makes the output voltage constant. So for voltage regulator, the input which is coming from will be coming from the filter. Okay, so let us draw a circuit diagram. this is the symbolic representation of a battery. This is my source voltage, which is nothing but the output of the filter. Okay, then what we will do is, there is a series resistance Rs. I will tell you the meaning of this resistance. Then Zener diode should always be connected in reverse bias mode. In reverse bias mode, the Zener diode will be connected like this. Okay, so this is the P region, this is the N region, N connected to positive, P connected to negative, and then there will be a load resistance across which the output voltage will be taken. Okay, so as soon as input voltage is applied, current I will flow through the circuit. Current I will flow through the series resistance. At this point it will be divided into two parts, Iz, and here as the current is flowing through the load resistance, I will call it as IL, and the current which is flowing through the Zener will be Iz. Okay, if you remember when I said that for output voltage to be 9 volt, the transformer's secondary voltage should be 3 volt more than the required value. That means the output voltage or the output will be 12 volt. Okay, so the VM value, the maximum voltage across secondary at this point will be 12 volt. The fluctuation which will be there will be 12 volt. Now for getting the output voltage as 9 volt, we have to select a Zener diode whose breakdown voltage is at 9 volt. Okay, the breakdown voltage should be at 9 volt. We will try to understand this circuit for two conditions. The first condition is when Vs is less than Vz. This is the condition when Vs is less than Vz. What happens to the Zener diode when Vs doesn't reach the Vz breakdown voltage? What happens is, before that no current is flowing through the Zener diode. Okay, so let us try to understand. Vs is less than Vz. From this circuit we get one current equation, I is equal to Iz plus IL. This same current, if you apply Kirchhoff's current law here, total current entering into the node is equal to total current flowing away from the node. So the equation is I is equal to Iz plus IL. But when Vs is less than Vz, the Zener diode is not in the breakdown region. That means no current is flowing through the Zener diode, and therefore Zener diode we say is off state. That means Iz is 0. In this equation, if you make Iz is equal to 0, what is the equation which you are going to get? I is equal to IL. Why we said that? Because Iz is equal to 0. Okay, Zener diode is in off state. Now I is equal to IL. So just for a moment, what you do is just imagine as if no Zener diode is connected in the circuit. So if no Zener diode is connected in the circuit, what is left in the circuit? Two resistors, Rs and RL, connected in series, and same current is flowing through the both the resistance, right? So if you want to calculate the total, calculating the output voltage when two resistors connected in series and same current is flowing through the resistance, they form voltage divider arrangement. And formula for voltage divider arrangement, V0 is equal to the total voltage, which is Vs, divided by total resistance, that is Rs, plus total resistance multiplied by the resistance across which the voltage is taken. So it is Vs upon Rs plus RL into RL. So this is the output voltage equation. Okay, so if you divide the numerator and denominator by RL, what is the equation which you are going to get is Vs upon Rs upon RL plus 1. Okay, and if RL is much greater than Rs, then the value becomes negligible. So this value will be V0 is equal to V0 is equal to VH. That means input voltage, the output voltage will be as same as input voltage. That means if there is a fluctuation in the input voltage, that fluctuation will appear at the output. Is that acceptable? What we wanted the output to be a pure DC, a straight line. Are we getting that? Of course not. The fluctuation which was there in the input, it appears across the output when Vs is less than Vz. So I told you that two conditions will prevail for Zener diode as voltage regulator. First, Zener diode should be connected in reverse bias condition. Yes, we did that. And secondly, Vs should be equal to or greater than Vz for Zener diode to be used as a voltage regulator.